world games have a very unique place in modern gaming. It's quite a hard task to make a compelling environment to keep players invested. Games like GTA and Far Cry use their environments to house objectives, things to do while you explore, even have a story that a player can choose to complete. On the opposite side of the spectrum is a game like Minecraft, where there are relatively simple concepts, but there's an infinite world to do whatever you want. While there is technically an objective in Minecraft, it's not the focus. I really like open world games, so when I heard two of my friends singing the praises of a relatively unknown one, I'd check it out. Enter Sludge Life. Sludge Life is a 3D platformer in which the world is covered in a thick black sludge and everything is terrible. Pretty much every worker is on strike after an unfortunate incident killed the mascot of the town's favorite cigarette company. Long story. In this world, there's an underground group of vandals. You play as Ghost, an up-and-coming tagger who just started their career. And you go around putting your art all over the walls of the town, all in this wonderful early 2000s graphic style. The heart of the game lies in the taggers, who you meet throughout and can even collab with when you reach a certain number of tags. More on that later. Despite seeming like there's hardly any direction given to the player, there are 3 endings to the game you can complete, which, sure, partly is figured out through exploration, but mostly due to this to-do list item that you get, which gives cryptic clues of how to reach each one. The game has an overtly comedic tone. I mean, what do you expect from a game with a dedicated fart button? Despite being very silly a lot of the time, there is some very deep world building usually found in the taggers roaming the city. A lot of jokes play off the absurdity of the world. For example, there's this guy doing an infinite headspin because his friend bet he couldn't do it forever. There's things like a talking cat and a cat with 2 exhausts. It has a ton of details that you just want to find on a first playthrough, which adds replay value. Okay, going forward, there's going to be some spoilers to all 3 of the game's endings. If you still want to play the game, and I recommend that you do, it's quite the trip, I feel it's best experienced blindly. At the time of making this video, it's still free on Epic Games, so if you have a computer and it sounds interesting, give it a shot. Alright, you good? Alright. Anyway, the game's 3 endings stem from 3 ideas: escape, destruction, and the idea of a cycle continuum. The game does not make it hidden that life isn't great for the residents of the town. There's a very large amount of poor people, the local science lab seemingly disregard human life, and the sludge seems to have taken over people's ideas of leaving. The rich CEO of the company, Glug, despite the rioting and mass strikes in the town, is sitting comfortably in a hot tub free of harm. I think there should be a way to cause more harm to him other than just robbing him and spitting in his food. You know, there's a lot of pee in the game. Sure, there's something there. When you talk to one of the taggers, Uzi, he informs you that there's an escape vehicle owned by the CEO. When you reach the CEO's office, which is hidden behind a bookshelf, which you can only access using a button underneath his desk to hide anyone from coming to game end him, when you go up this fire escape looking contraption, you get to this room with a large door and a button that opens the door. But when you try to go to it, there's a camera that will see you and then close the door. It's a little puzzle. When you use the teleporter item, which will let you save a place in space and then go there at any time, you can get past the door by tricking the camera. Then you find yourself at his helicopter. You can climb inside and fly away. You'd think this would be some sort of triumphant moment, but to me it seemed pretty somber. Everyone you'd met just stands there. Some wave goodbye, but most just watch. You fly off and the credits roll. This is the good ending. Escape. The bad ending sings a different tune. The company Chemico, which is an experiment company that created the teleporter used throughout the game, has a little quarantined off building that seems decaying, like it's been left there for some unknown reason. When you go inside, there's an NPC who is clearly mutated by the radiation there, as they tell you themselves, although they don't seem to believe it. There's a little crack in this pathway over here, and when you climb inside, passing this tiny physics puzzle, there's a nuke, an atomic bomb, just, lying in wait. You can tag the backside and activate it. The game sees a series of errors and then just crashes. This ending is much more abrupt and sinister than the others, and honestly could be argued as a better ending for the residents of the town. They no longer need to worry about work or being sad, because they're dead. This is the bad ending. Destruction. The weird ending is where it gets interesting. After getting a certain number of tags, you unlock the ability to collaborate with other taggers. Most of them are just praising your work and how great the collab looks. But in some cases, you get extra bit of world building and lore. For instance, when I first played the game, I found my way into the CEO's apartment and noticed that one of the tags I'd seen around the town was in a frame in his house, which was weird. When I got to collab with the artist of said tag, Double, one laments of how they missed the real feeling of being a vandal after they sold out. So this implies they've been selling their art pieces despite the fact that goes against the idea of being a whole, vandal, With the idea of world building in mind of these little tidbits in dialogue, let's take a look at the second to last collab you get, Tia. You get information about the largest name in the local vandal scene, King. King's an interesting character because he was a legend tagger who tore out his own eyes. You then receive his eyes in a bottle as an item. This game's pretty weird. The eyes are almost essential for getting all the tags, as they always look towards the nearest place to face. Anyways, Tia says that she and King were the first taggers in town, and greed for getting popular consumed him. He then saw what he became and tore out his own eyes. With this in mind, when you get 100 tag spots across the entire map, you seemingly get to collab with him, which seemed strange at first because he didn't really look like he wanted the tag anymore. You go to meet him, but he's just gone. It's just his blindfold. Now I'm going to let the scene play out. You're what King was before. You'd just been growing and growing until you were on top, and then apparently took a step back and tore your own eyes out, becoming the next king. This is the weird ending. The cycle continues. I'm going to call the video here. I planned on making more, however. Not only was this video taking longer than I expected to make, but I'm not entirely certain if this is the kind of content that I like to make, as if you've seen anything else I've made, it's vastly different. Well, depending on how this goes, maybe I'll finish up and talk about my own theories or something, but, it's really whatever. Adios.